For everybody currently watching online through Zoom, we're going to get started in about 15 minutes now. So if you are looking to speak for on public input, can you please press the raise hand button and we will answer you when called on.
Yeah, you
Once again, for everybody watching via Zoom, if you are currently waiting to speak on public input period, we are going to be getting started pretty soon. If you are looking to speak, just please press the raise hand button at this time.
Are you even?
All right, this is last call for everybody looking to sign up for public input online. If you are wishing to speak for public input period, please press the raise hand button at this time.
I'm only gonna do it if he does. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening.
No, it's just.
Welcome. Talking about phase three, headquarters is on, second floor temporary changes. Tonight's meeting with Troy Election Commission and Pawtucket City Council. First on our agenda tonight is free council update on small business administration regarding economic injury. Disaster, specifically about
Yeah.
the blizzard of the past summer. Elizabeth, you here? And Phil.
Can't go, yeah. Good evening.
Thank you.
There is no. Okay.
Is that green light on?
Yes, sir. Hi, my name is Elizabeth from U.S. Small Business Administration from Atlanta, field office for the Eastern Seaboard. We wanted to meet with you guys today because we've been, the state of Rhode Island has been approved for SBA economic injury development loans. So essentially what that is for any of the businesses or nonprofits who were affected by the blizzard back in February, we have disaster loans that are available. So essentially what that looks like is anybody, business owner, nonprofit who may have lost some money within those 2 or 3 days. For example, restaurants where you didn't have folks coming in, nonprofits, we've met with some who were supposed to be hosting a fundraiser, had to cancel the event, and they lost, anticipated funds from that. So it's essentially these are low interest loans. They are 4% for small businesses and 3.25% for nonprofits. There is a variety of ways that you can pay it off: 5-term, 7-year term, 30-year term. What's interesting and unique about these loans is the first year, you don't have to make any payments and no interest accrues. So it gives individuals a little bit of breathing room to get their books in order and to see exactly what that loss might look like. We did have an office set up here in Smithfield, but that has since moved on elsewhere to another disaster. I believe they went to Indiana for the tornadoes. But individuals are eligible to apply through March of 2027. A lot of folks will ask, how is it that we know that we lost income? And if so, how much income can we apply for to offset those losses? And essentially, we just tell people, compare your books from last year to this year and apply for that. If you do apply and you do get accepted, you do not have to take the loan, but it is another avenue. We've spoken to a few business owners who have just been putting expenses and whatnot on credit cards. Obviously, 4% interest loan is presumably, I don't know everybody's credit card interest rates, but presumably a lot lower. And lastly, there's no collateral for loans under $50,000. So if somebody just anticipated losing 15, 20, 25, anything under $50,000, you do not need to provide collateral. All these loans can be applied for online. I have some flyers and some fact sheets that I will leave here, and just wanted to provide that information for those folks who might have been affected. So that's it.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, any questions?
I know I was going in.
Yes, Elizabeth, I know you said anything over $50,000. Is there a max on the loans?
Oh, thank you. The max on the loan is 2 million. So really hoping that over the course of that snowstorm, people didn't lose $2 million in businesses, but we have that high cap for places like Indiana, Wisconsin, who get hit with tornadoes or hurricanes or whatever that might look like, which is why the cap is so high. If you do go over $50,000, you do need to provide things like collateral in some fashion, and they're really flexible with that. So it looks very different for every applicant, but the goal is to get as many folks in there to keep those small businesses open. So max of 2 million, and anything under 50,000 does not require the collateral.
Thank you.
Sure.
So, no. Go ahead, quick question, but sure. You mentioned that the other office is closed and that individual or those individuals have moved on to Indiana, right?
Mhm.
You work in conjunction with FEMA and response,
we're
or
two-
response, or?
We are two different. So FEMA typically deals with immediate needs such as housing, food insecurities, things like that. we come in, not on the tail ends, depending on how quickly the agency declarations or presidential declarations get approved. We come in afterwards to deal exclusively with those small business owners, nonprofit owners. So we're under the same umbrella, but focusing on the business side of it.
So does it make a difference what state a business is in applying?
So there are contiguous counties. So there's the primary counties. All of this is on the fact sheet because I know for Rhode Island, there was a lot of counties that fell under this particular declaration. Contiguous counties, there's a bunch in Massachusetts and Connecticut. So what that looks like is you might be based here in Rhode Island, but a lot of your customers, whatever that might look like, a lot of folks who would be coming to your business typically come from elsewhere. And so it is not specific to Rhode Island, but that's kind of where we're based out of. We had individuals in Connecticut as well dealing with the same situation. So it's really,
Long as there is a nexus to the contiguous counties.
exactly, yeah.
A Rhode Island business or an Indiana business would be on equal footing relative to
Absolutely.
qualifying, but like,
Yep,
unlike
absolutely.
apparently FEMA's reimbursement to
Yeah.
blue states versus red states.
Exactly. No, this money is different. It comes directly out of the treasury. And that's another point to nail down is these interest rates will not change. So that's important. So over the course of the loan, it's not going to change. So we are non-political for sure. I know that Rhode Island's had some challenges with FEMA not approving specific declarations. But yep, we're two separate offices and
I was just asking because that does affect.
Yep.
I hate to see one of our small businesses already badly affected,
mhm,
apply and say, I'm sorry, you're applying to the blue state, so you just.
yeah, and I saw there was a recent article about that here, in Rhode Island. So yep, totally separate and everybody, is eligible regardless of.
Thank you very much. That's all. Okay.
How does it fit in with the recent, it was in the newspaper about the president rejecting, the state's request for aid, as a disaster area for.
Yeah, so that request fell under FEMA.
Okay.
So if you're there's two types of declarations. There's presidential,
Right.
and there's agency. So agency, it's typically smaller, it's typically specific to economic development. And those are the ones that go through our office. Now FEMA being completely different, they can also have the presidential declarations. But again, very separate. And if there was something that happens in terms of a presidential declaration and an agency declaration, let's say a tornado hit, and not only did you lose housing and everything that falls under FEMA, but you also were a small business owner, you would be eligible to apply for both, but one has nothing to do with the
So
other.
the president has no impact on your agency and what you're doing.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Rio, did you have a question?
Yes, I did. A lot of our small businesses are minority-owned businesses. Is there support for these applicants?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the issues they encounter is not being able to apply for these type of reliefs.
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of guidance or support do you have?
So just on kind of the lowest level, we have translators, either here on the grounds for a lot of declarations. At the moment, we don't have those folks here, but in Atlanta, we have translators for many languages who are able to sit down with an individual via WebEx or Zoom or whatever the platform might be and go through that process with them, walk them through what that looks like.
Is the support going to be offered to other organizations? Just because another issue is they're not able to access either a computer or they're not tech savvy. Is that something that will be offered to organizations that could support these individuals?
In terms of
Just applying.
oh, sure. So there's actually a SBA district office here, and they would be able to walk you through that process. Now, what we typically have, and that's why we have these offices that we do have set up. Our office here was only set up for 2 weeks. And that's where they have the translators and all of that, but you could go into the local SBA office here. And they are not loan specialists per se, they have a variety of things, but they're not trained to be out in the field. They're familiar with the process, they're familiar with the qualifications, they have access to Atlanta translators, so the goal really is to get as many small businesses back up and running. And so those resources are readily available. Thank you. Any other questions?
If you have any other questions? Thank you for coming down, Elizabeth.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they have until March. One other thing is if somebody does get approved, they don't have to take it. They have 3 weeks to decide. And yeah, a lot of wiggle room. So I will leave these here with the clerk. Feel free to, it's just a fact sheet and then a general sheet, and one side of this is Spanish. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you too. Okay, up next on our agenda is public input. We've got quite a robust list signed up here, as well as some written testimony and at least one online. I believe the overwhelming majority, if not all of them, are regarding item 7 on the council agenda. So I'm going to push the public input back till we reach those items. However, if there's anybody here signed up for public input that is here for some item other than the school committee charter question? Ma'am?
I am here for both. So I'd like to reserve my right to make comment during the special public comment session on the charter amendment, but I would also like to address the communications from J.K. Equities, if that's acceptable.
That woman stood up first, I'll take
Absolutely.
her, and then Mr. Ford. Ma'am, if you'd like to come forward. This is about something other than the charter review question, ma'am?
Other than the school committee, is that what you're asking? I can't.
Oh, I'm,
hear you back
I'm sorry, no, so I'm asking if you signed up for public input, but it's about the school committee charter question, is that what you're,
No,
okay. Something different,
something different.
okay, and your name is?
Elizabeth Souza, I'm on like reverse side of the first page.
Elizabeth Souza from Dale Street.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna just put a check mark next to you. Other than Mr. Ford, anybody else that's here or something not related to item 7 on the council agenda? I'll just take the hands at first, Mr. Pompili.
I have one tangentially related to item 7, but it's more if that public comment period is getting pushed to whenever we get to that on the agenda, and people who maybe didn't get here in time for 6:30, got here at 6:32 and didn't get.
No, I can't do that.
Public comment period, that's gonna be at like 8.
No, we have the rules are for a particular reason.
The
so
rules for the public comment period is at 6:50.
That's what it's scheduled for, yes. I'm
So
pushing
you're
it, I'm
holding
pushing
on
it back to that. I'm not gonna have a debate with you about this. Ma'am, in the back of the room, are you here for something other than that issue?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so what's your name, ma'am?
Cheryl, last name is Fabian.
Oh, Cheryl, I
It's
could,
difficult to hear back here when everybody's talking.
all right, I will do my best, and I just didn't recognize your way back there, Cheryl. And you're here to offer public input about something other than that,
Correct.
Okay.
Even though I could vote, but I'll do the one item in particular, and touch more bases.
I would appreciate that, thank you. I'm sorry, Elizabeth, yes?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I am here to address you as the Board of Licensing for regarding the Harmony Kennel that is located on 65 Patterson Ave. And I would like to address you concerning the zoning law, chapter 410. Are you aware that it has 156 pages? And we met, my neighbors and I met last week with Mr. Milos, who's the city solicitor, and Mr. Johnson, who is the zoning director, regarding the coming up of the renewal for the licensing for this kennel.
Yes, that's on tonight's agenda.
So we were not satisfied with the answers we got because for the last two previous licenses, we have complained, we have sent letters, my neighbors have presented, and nothing was done. When we met with Mr. Milos and Mr. Johnson, we learned for the first time that no formal hearing motion was filed. So one of the things that I want to make sure is that a formal hearing motion be filed today if need be. The other concern is that Mr. Milos pretty much, even though he was, he listened to us, but he didn't really listen to us. He heard us, but didn't listen. And he said, well, the renewal of a licenses, that's a moot point because it's going to be done anyways. It's already been up 2 years, so a third year. So when I asked Mr. Johnson about the mapping of the zones, I live in something called RM, which is residential multifamily. This kennel is in a zone MO, but it abuts right on my property line. In the zoning chapter 60, actually section 60 of 410, where it says special use permit requirements for specific uses, it states pet care services and pet overnight boarding, minimum lot size 20,000 square feet. Now, taking into consideration that 65 Patterson is a large rectangular building, but this kennel doesn't use the whole building. Yet Mr. Johnson said that it's considered one lot. And by definition, then it's all one piece. The other section, minimum side, front, rear yard width, 20 feet. I can assure you that there's a tiny little space on the side of that building that might be considered a yard, but there's no other yard involved, no other 20 feet width. The lot cannot be within 200 feet of a residential district or a commercial or office building. My house abuts straight on up to the wall of that building. There is no 200 feet. I understand that when you folks voted to approve that license, you went by what Mr. Johnson presented to you, which was a map that showed the MO and then the residential. There are 6 houses that abut that property. None of them, but that building is not 200 feet from any of those properties. You made a mistake, and I understand. But now you have an opportunity to undo that mistake. There is no reason why a license can be renewed under those circumstances when it doesn't fit the category in the zoning. And if you folks are not familiar with the zoning, I would highly recommend that you do read the 156 pages like I did. Just so that you know and can question when something like this happens. So please take a moment, take a breather. If you're not sure, go around our neighborhood. And if you do inspections, do it unannounced. I supervised and investigated elder abuse. And one of the things we learned was if you tell somebody you're going to do an inspection, you're going to find pretty.
We do understand that.
Okay.
So, and I know this item is coming up later on and your council representative will be able to address that.
All right.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for coming down and expressing your thoughts on behalf of you and respect for the residents. We will be addressing this.
Okay.
So please,
Hey, thank you. Ms. Babiak, would you like to come forward, please? Thank you.
My name is Cheryl Babiak. I'm a Pawtucket resident and very happily could say I'm a retired Pawtucket teacher and I absolutely enjoy my career here in Pawtucket. There's something that has been bothering me for a long time. Over a year ago, if you remember, for the bond issues for the school, you had ride-in, the city council met, the mayor met, school department met, and the school committee met, all in city council chambers down in Pawtucket. And why can't that be done more often instead of once when things are going awry? And have a system of quarterly meetings with all the parties involved in making these type of decisions. So you don't get to a point where you're facing a major deficit for one department. There's in-house fighting about whether it's level funding or not level funding, or taking back monies, giving monies. Have that resolved before you get to the end of a fiscal year. So I just feel it makes common sense to have everybody sit at the table periodically, quarterly meetings. So there's a clear understanding on how all the departments are working. And if there's any issues, address them at that period of time. Because that's what probably led also to number 7. So my feeling is there is a remedy to this. It makes common sense for people to sit down, face each other, and talk about the issues. Not to do a knee-jerk response. And then to be faced with the deficit. You know, like a surprise, by the way. So that is my recommendation, that you consider doing quarterly meetings with all the departments. The mayor, school committee, city council, and the school department, and work on these issues.
Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Pat Ford, 42 Oriental Street, Providence, Rhode Island, Coalition Radio Network. Question, and I'm speaking at this moment, and again, reserving my right to speak on question number 7. If that's an issue, please let me know right now. We have been blessed again with yet another glorious missive from one Jordan Carlick of Blackstone Center LLC. The man who has literally taken, and he's taken years to take possibly one of the few open spaces that could have been used for our children to turn it into, I guess, what's called a last mile distribution center. I attended the hearings for that, and I remember the juxtaposition, if you will, of economic development, jobs, versus, again, precious open space for our young people in an economically challenged part of the city. Well, the city decided to move in favor of jobs. And I guess we're getting closer to completion. The irony, of course, is there's a tattered sign that flaps in the wind, tired and tattered, talking about, well, renting out the property. So I guess that means Amazon's not coming. So we built this last mile center, selling irreplaceable property for economic development. Well, as it nears completion, I remember Councilman Member Ruggiero was particularly poignant about the jobs that were going to be created relative to the city of Pawtucket and its residents, and all the efforts that were going to be made to direct jobs to them. So my question, and it is not a rhetorical question, it is not tongue in cheek, with the completion near, when can we expect, and perhaps this will be the subject of the next missive from glorious Mr. Carlick, the job fairs? Anyone? Was that yet another forgotten promise? As we mortgage our future, literally, for our young people in that district, or these are going to be, and Mr. Ruggiero, and I know it's customary to direct questions to the chair, so I'll direct it to the chair. Is there going to be any efforts whatsoever at any time in the near future, in any form of manner, to actually bring this job creation to life? I'll wait for your response. And by the way, under state law, in a meeting like this, you can respond to questions in the open public session. So has anyone got any feedback on when we're gonna go after these mythical jobs?
Can't respond, I don't have a response.
Well, I guess I'm respectfully asking that this be put as a priority as opposed to these endless contemptible missives that we get from Mr. Farley, who clearly at this point, since the deal's been consummated, has no intentions whatsoever. Please prove me wrong. But at the same time, prioritize the jobs, in a never-ending stream of empty promises made both to the city of Pawtucket and the state of Rhode Island. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have one other item of public input to just file away. It's from an individual named Maddie Weeding, 65 Patterson Street, regarding the Harmony Cafe. The rest in this packet are on item 7. Second Board of License Commission will come to order, clerk will call the roll.
President Mercer.
Here.
Council Rujo.
Yeah.
Council Codere.
Here.
Council Gregor.
Here.
Council Moran.
Here.
Council Moreno.
Here.
Council Rubio.
Here.
Council Scoviac.
Here.
Council Wildenhain.
Here.
9 in attendance.
Mr. President, I call for approval of the previous minutes from June 24th, 2026.
Second. Moved by Council Russo, second by Council Wildenhain. That approval be given to the minutes of the June 24th, 2026 meeting as prepared by the clerk. Are there any amendments, adjustments, deletions, additions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
I call for approval of item number 2, the consent agenda, in 3 petitions for licenses, starting with public laundry of the Laundromats, Pawtucket LLC at 479 Mill Spring Avenue, and ending at the bottom of the page, waste haulers with Wind Waste Innovation of Northern New England.
Moved by Council Russo, second by Council Moreno, such she will give the items 2 and 3 that consent agenda on petitions for license. The petitions start with public laundry renewal with Laundromax on Middle Spring Avenue, down through Wind Waste Innovations, Northern New England. Any items members would like to talk about individually? There are none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Item number 4 is a petition for license entertainment in Class F1 full privilege petition of Cretu Cultural Center for license to have a Cretu Festival and to sell alcoholic beverages at Festival Pier 21 Tim Healy Way on Sunday, September 6, 2026 from 12 p.m. until 10 p.m. and Monday, September 7th from 2026 from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. And the rainy date would be September 13th, 2026 from 12 p.m. until 8 p.m. License number is EDT 26-51. Motion to take up.
Second.
Moved by Council Russo, second by Council Codere, that a petition for license for an entertainment class F1 full privilege, petition of Cretu Cultural Center for a license at a Cretu Festival. We sell alcoholic beverages at Festival Pier at 21 Tim Healy Way on Sunday, September 6th, from noon until 10 p.m. and Monday, September 7th, from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. with a rain date of September 13th from noon until 8 p.m. License from the EBT-6-51. And we'll take up the matter. Is the applicant here? Can you come forward, ma'am? How are you? Did you just give your name and home address, please?
Sorry.
Your name and home address for the clerk, to the police.
Okay.
It's probably already on the application, but
Madeline, development, 5 Kids Way.
Francisco Amaro, 5 Kids Way, Pawtucket.
this is sort of a festival pier. And that is in Council Codere. I'm gonna turn this over to her.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hi, how are you guys?
Good, how you doing?
Good, thank you. What are you bringing this year? We have something different at the festival. Is there something different that we're doing?
Yeah, this year we're gonna celebrate Cabo Verde Day, because it's a level day, and Monday, we're gonna put, and Sunday, celebrate the Cabo Verde Day, because Cabo Verde is a
But what I mean is that it will be the same festival that you always do every year, or you are bringing any new entertainment?
no, it's the same, it's family
Same.
cultural events, the same. Just the new is because Cabo Verde is in the World Cup, that's fine.
A lot of people is looking forward to attend to this event. You guys have been, doing a very good job, very organized, and I am very grateful to have people like you having these events in my district and, having the people of Pawtucket getting together and have some fun with, the family. I don't have any more questions, Mr. President, if anybody else.
Does anyone have any questions? Thank you. You can have a seat. It's not a public hearing, so that's in the.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Tobias, second by Councilor Rudo and Councilor Rubio, is that correct?
Yeah.
That approval be given to the Correctional Cultural Center Lifestyle, the Correctional Festival, sell alcoholic beverages at Festival Pier on Sunday, September sixth, from noon until 10 p.m. and Monday, September seventh, from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. There is a rain date listed, and the motion for approval is for approval. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Good luck, have fun.
Item number 5, petition for license entertainment in class F1 full privilege, petition of Lean M. Correa to conduct Cabo Verde na Copa Matagal and to sell food and alcoholic beverages at 248 Regent Street on Saturday, July 11th, 2026, from 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. License number EVT 26-61. Motion to take up.
Moved by Councilor Ruzo, second by Councilor Stobiak, that a petition for a license for an entertainment class F1 full privilege. Petition of Eileen M. Carrera to conduct a Cabo Verde na Copa Matagal and to sell food and alcoholic beverages at 248 Regent Street on Saturday, July 11th, from 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. with the license number EVT-26-61. Ms. Carrera here? Or her husband? Anybody with the applicant for this? And it's July 11th. Councilman?
I mean, he was here at the last meeting, so, I mean, I'm just gonna move to, no point in postponing it, because it's not here, so, like. So the clerk is informed we don't have written permission that he was supposed to, ask in written permission from the owner, which was actually one of my questions, to have it on this property. So this is not a typical place that we would allow events to. This is not public space. This is not even an extension of his business. This is a property he found and is renting out. But we don't have the notice that the owner actually approved this. And since he's not here, I'm just going to move to deny this license.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Stobiak, second by Councilor Ruzo, that we deny the petition for license for conduct a Cabo Verde na Copa Matagal and sell food and alcoholic beverages at 248 Regent Street on Saturday, July 11th, from 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. Any discussion on the motion to deny? All in favor, and I vote is to deny. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item number 6, a petition for license entertainment and expansion of premise 3 days. Petition of Amada do Divino Espirito Santo, St. Anthony's Church Corporation for a license to conduct a Holy Ghost feast outdoors and a 3-day expansion of their Class D liquor license to serve alcoholic beverages outside on Friday, July 24th, 2026, and Saturday, July 25th, 2026, from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m., and on Sunday, July 26th, 2026, from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. License number EVT 26-59. Motion to take up.
Moved by Council Luther, second by Councilor Stacoviac, that typical license regarding entertainment and stand of premise for 3 days of Hermandade, Divino Espero Santo, and Anthony's Church Corporation for a license to conduct a Holy Ghost Feast outdoors. 3-day expansion of their Class D liquor license, without most beverages outside, Friday, July 24th, and Saturday, July 25th, both from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. and on Sunday, July 26th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. The license of the PBT 26 59. The motion is to take up Council Segovia.
Oh, I'll just say that obviously we just approved a license a few weeks ago for their other feast. This is 40+ years of them, doing the feast. They obviously always do it properly. We never have issues. So I don't really have any additional questions.
That's not allowed.
No one.
Exactly.
Motion is to approve, second by Councilor Gregor. Is there any other discussion on this? In that case, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Mr. President, I'm taking 7, 8, and 9 together, and
Sure.
10 as well, okay?
Sure.
So item number 7 is communication from Tanya and Brett Boyer to the Pawtucket Board of License Commissioner support of kennel. Not item number 8 is a communication from Clovis Gregor, District 5 City Councilor, Richard Goldstein, City Clerk. Residents ongoing complaints of boarding kennel facility, Harmony Dog Training LLC. Item number 9, communication from Megan McMurray to Michelle Hardy, Deputy City Clerk, matter of Harmony Dog Training. Those 3 items, 7, 8, and 9, I'd like to read and file.
Moved by Councilor Luther, second by Councilor Gregor, that items 7, 8, and 9 are communication, pre-communications, one from Tanya and Brent Boyer. Regarding support for the kennel, one from Councilor Clovis Gregor to the clerk regarding residents' ongoing complaints of boarding kennel facility, Harmony Dog Training. And the third is a communication, Megan McMurray to Michelle Hardy, Deputy City Clerk, regarding the matter of Harmony Dog Training. The motion is to file the 3 communications. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And item number 10, item 10, the following petition for renewal was postponed at the meetings held on April 8th, May 6th, and June 10th, 2026, and it began picking up. Kennel renewal, Harmony Dog Training LLC, 65 Patterson Ave, license number KNL-25-2. My motion is to take this up.
By Councilor Luther, second by Councilor Gregor. At item 10, the following petition for renewal was postponed at the meetings held April 8th, May 6th, and June 10th. But again taken up as kennel license renewal for Harmony Dog Training LLC, 65 Patterson Avenue, license number KNL-25-2. The motion is taken up for renewal. Councilor Gregor.
Please, the applicant here.
Licensee is here? Yes, sir. Come forward. Mr. Rosado, right? That's correct. All right. We've got your name and home address, so Councilor Becker.
Thanks for being with Mr. Rosado. Like I said before, the issue with the United Kennel matter, is not one, the board, all myself, systematically resulted from the readiness, zoning designation, and certificate of compliance with reason, condition. The problem here is that you are not in compliance with a specific kennel licensing, 116-55 and 44. One of the things here is section 116-56, general application requirements. C says that all applicants must meet all the special use permit requirements of pet care services establishment or as listed in section 410-6 of the zoning ordinance of the city. That zoning ordinance specifically has several measures in it, the most important.
I can't hear
Get a
you.
little closer.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't want to interrupt you, I apologize.
most important of which is the fact that a kennel establishment cannot be within 200 feet of a residential district.
Could you repeat
That,
that ordinance?
if I may, that you'll get your chance to speak,
Sure, yeah.
so, clearly, you are essentially surrounded by residential property. These folks have been complaining for the last 2+ years. This board and myself have been concerned with the appropriateness of your zoning designation for one thing, and we're going to get some shoots instead. In fact,
I can't hear him when you go.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
sorry.
we have made inquiries of Director Johnson regarding how to think about with our zoning designation. His various responses, but essentially suggesting that because the kennel license is allowed in the MO zone, you're classifying the MO zone, you would not like to do anything that I like to just open the kennel. But however, that is not the case, and the problem here is that Mr. Johnson, and this is my opinion, only did half his job. His first job was to figure out whether the kennel could operate in what zone district. MO zone is the only one to operate, that's where you will classify. However, second part of this job as the director of zoning code enforcement was to confirm before issuing any certificate of compliance with the zoning, was to look at the second part, which is that section that Elizabeth, your neighbors here, just talked about. That's 410-60 special use permit requirements, and I'm talking about, section U, pet care service and pet overnight boarding. You'll see a whole list of things that, needed to be confirmed by the director. So he was required to review not only your application, but apply the literal requirements of the zoning ordinance, a specific use requirement for kennel establishment, as specifically provided for and incorporated by reference by the kennel licensing ordinance. It's not our job as the board. None of us are zoning experts. None of us have any background on zoning. The suggestion from Mr. Johnson, the last time he was here, that this was a licensing issue, he had no duty or obligation to this board. You or these residents, and he had to go over there and ensure that these specific requirements for zoning kennel were established prior to issuing the certificate. It's something that obviously, you know, you would have to contend with. However, at this point, I'm gonna make a motion that we issue the summons for show cause here in the United States today. You can't, personally, and I think the rest of the board can't allow you to continue to operate in violation of a specific zoning ordinance regarding the kennel operation for the various and exact reasons that these folks have been complaining for over 2 years. Done? Thank you.
Councilor, I don't think you've made a motion yet. I'm gonna just ask you to hold off on that. If you want to respond to it, I know you couldn't quite hear everything.
Is it possible for him to repeat that ordinance he was citing, so I can better understand it, because it's the first of my knowledge when I went to the city clerk and I did my research. So if he could recite that, but that we all can hear it, it'd be great.
Yeah, sure. So the section 4. Section 410-60 special use permit requirement specific uses, and in your section, it would be section U, which is pet care services and pet overnight boarding. And it would specifically list the requirements that a pet establishment, in order to open whatever, it doesn't matter what zone it's in. In this case, you could only operate in an MO zone, which by right, you didn't have to apply for a variance. The MO zone, that's the only place you could be. However, the second part of that equation required that you met section 410-60U, which your establishment does not. So, and if you look at that also, I looked at your application, and your application specifically states that when an applicant applies for a kennel license, they need to make sure that you're essentially confirming by submitting the application that you have read the ordinance, the kennel license and all the requirements.
It's just a shame that it took this long for you to potentially communicate even via email and phone calls, and at least to be like, hey, Mr. Rosado, this is what we've seen.
But it's a showmanship, unfortunately, for you to be able to just be happy, smile, smirk, and then, you know, keep your lower up. But that's cool, right? I'm allowed to appeal, make motions, and we go through the legal process.
Well, Mr. Lozano, there's nothing to appeal right now. We haven't made a decision
I
yet.
said what I had to say.
You're entitled to a hearing.
Sure.
This is why we
Yeah,
give you a summons
absolutely.
for a formal show cause hearing so you can present your case.
Or fix the problem.
Thank you.
Is that a motion to?
Yeah, I motion that a summons be issued for the establishment on the door. Training establishment at 45 Patterson Avenue, for a show cause hearing.
Show cause regarding what?
And the violation, the alleged violation would be section 116.25, and that's nuisance abatement, section A.
116.
-25,
A.
yeah, a nuisance abatement, because, if you look at that statute, ongoing continuous yelping, barking, and noise created by animals
I'm
is
aware of it.
considered
I'm a exit.
is
ACO officer, I
considered
understand.
a public nuisance,
Sure.
period. Right, so that's one of the violations that these folks have been complaining about. The second is that 11650-56 general application requirements, and that's section C, all applicants must meet all of the special use permit requirements for a pet care services establishment as listed in section 41060 of the zoning ordinance of the city of Pawtucket, and thus, for you, will be section U of 410-60. And the next violation would be 116-59K. That would be general licensing requirements. All licensees must comply with all city ordinances pertaining to animals and noise. Final violation, section 286-10, which falls under animals and fowls. Put that in as also regarding nuisance on demand.
Rick, do you have each of those?
I believe so.
It's been moved by Councilor Director, seconded by Councilor Ritter, that we schedule a formal show cause hearing for the first meeting in August. We don't have a full meeting, the second meeting. Mr. Ritter, I think you mentioned that you engaged an attorney, correct? I don't know, you guys never responded to my email, so. Unfortunately, I don't know. I did respond to your email, but it wasn't to ask you if you were sure you were. I'm surmising that you have engaged an attorney or what considering. That will be sent to you. If you'd like it sent as well to your attorney, just let the clerk know. And that will be the first meeting in August. Provided. You have more to add to that, or? No. So moved by Councilor Gregor, second by Councilor Lee. Any discussion in scheduling the formal hearing? Are those going to be submitted so I can pull up those, or do you have a copy of those violations? Yeah, the clerk will be sure to give you a full accounting of what's being addressed at that hearing.
You get a summons and you'll have all the violations listed.
Can I get it prior to that? Is it possible that somebody?
You come to the office, we'll
You can give it to me? Yeah, if you're going to the clerk's office tomorrow, somebody can aid you later. No problem. Oh,
And he can keep operating the business until the show cause, yeah, right?
yeah, the renewal has been suspended.
Sure.
His state license is still in place.
Okay, right.
So it's, so to speak, business as usual until we can resolve this matter. For sure. All set. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Now, Councilman.
Yes,
No.
Mr. Rosado, excuse me, Mr. Rosado, could you hold on a second?
What else did you want?
Well, he was, I got a call from one of the residents that he was sitting directly across from her residence with his truck idling, watching her. She got very nervous. like him to refrain from trying to intimidate the residents who have a right to express the specific grievances regarding that kennel.
Mr. President, before we take item number 11, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to submit a communication.
Second.
Council Moran, that we amend the agenda for the purpose of filing a.
Yes, correspondence.
Any discussion on amending the agenda? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
I make a motion to file a communication to the city of Pawtucket, to the city solicitor from Alex Flores, respectfully requesting that we reschedule the formal hearing that was on the docket tonight because we couldn't make it due to some medical issue.
Moved by Council, second by Council Codier, that we file a communication from one of the owners of Mango's restaurant requesting that the hearing on item 11 be continued until the first meeting of August. The motion is to file a communication and approve the request. Second by Council Codier. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Do I have to read 11 now or you already got it? Should I read that anyways? Yeah, I should.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, item number 11, formal hearing, Class B victular, Mango's Hookah Lounge, Princess Investments LLC, 17 Exchange Street, license number LQB 24-53. My motion is to postpone this formal hearing tonight and have it take place the first meeting in August.
Moved by Council Ruda, second by Council Codier, that a formal hearing on a Class B victual license scheduled for Mango's Hookah Lounge, Princess Investments LLC, 17 Exchange Street, be continued till the first meeting in August. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
No further business coming before the Pawtucket Board of License Commissioners. I make a motion that we adjourn and reconvene as Pawtucket City Council.
By Council Ruda, second by Council Codier, that we adjourn second Board of License Commissioners and convene as Pawtucket City Council. Before we do, I ask that everyone stand and join us with the pledge of allegiance, started by Councilor Codier. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Testimony.
I am all set, Mr. President.
Second City Council, come to order, clerk and call roll.
President Mercer,
Yes.
Councilor Russo,
Yeah,
Council Codere,
Here.
Council Gregor,
Here.
Council Moran,
here.
Council Moreno,
Here.
Council Rubio,
Here.
Council Collier,
Here.
Council Wildenhain.
Here.
9 in attendance.
Item number 1, I call for approval of the previous minutes from June 24th, 2026 from the City Property Committee, the Finance Committee, the Joint Finance Committee, Committee of the Whole, and the City Council.
Second. Moved by Council Russo, second by Council Wildenhain, that approval be given to the minutes from the June 24th meeting of the City Property Committee, the Finance Committee, the Joint Finance Committee, and Committee of the Whole, as well as the City Council, as here by the clerk. Are there any additions, deletions, amendments, considerations? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
I call for approval of item number 2, which is the consent agenda and correspondence.
Moved by Council Russo, second by Council Moreno, that approval is given item 2 to consent agenda and correspondence. Are there any items the members would like to discuss in the division? Councilor Gregor.
So item A and F.
Anyone else? In that case, all in favor with the exception of A and F? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Councilor Gregor, A and F together or separately, however you please.
So item number 8 is the communication from Jordan College Maximum Center LLC to general members of the Second City Council regarding 1 Wisconsin Street, quarter 2, 2026 construction update. I don't have any specific issue regarding construction update, however, I just want to bring out the fact that, there are tons of contaminated, we still have contaminated dirt piles sitting in and about that property, which should be covered, but are not. And, I'm getting complaints from people about dust covering their homes nearby and their houses that I can file a large community call. Two, which is sort of related to item F, which is a communication for myself, to the residents of Woodlawn regarding rodent abatement and prevention program. Now, part of that construction and the excavation, everything else that's been done in that property, as, Lloyd Joel reports that, my residents in about the area have reported to me, and the heavy resurgence of rats and rodents going into their homes, their property, chewing things up and so forth. So, which is why I wrote that particular correspondence, and it's available, obviously, the rodent, it references the rodent program that Steve Beckett has, where people can request a rodent box, which will be provided for free and maintained when it's affected. So, this is obviously a health and safety issue. It's just one more of the things that, construction of the warehouse distribution center has brought to us. So, would like, it send a letter to the DPW to Anderson to ensure that the property perimeter is cleaned up. There are mattresses and trash all around that property right now, along the Shasta Street, and that's not acceptable.
One more traffic news at DPW and zoning.
Yes.
Moved by Councilor Gregor, second by Councilor Moreno, that approval, that we send a communication to DPW and zoning regarding, litter, debris, and other waste in proximity of Loma Traffic. And see if DPW might be able to clean it up, and zoning might be able to, determine who, if anyone, could be cited, that's what it.
Yes. One more motion.
Within that one, or?
No.
All right, let me clear it out. All, any discussion on sending that communication to DPW and zoning? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, will carry. Next one.
The next one is, for send a communication to the DPW and the Parks and Recreation regarding the current condition of Wally Field. There's been no decision from the National Park, and as far as, we're concerned, Wally remains a park, a viable park, which needs to be sustained. It's overgrown again. Chris, Wally did do a good job the last time of cleaning it off, and every I would like to see it again. It's sad as people when we see that in that kind of state.
Also, and we can't send that communication, because it's not on the agenda at all. Like to send that one yourself, copy us on it next time around, but the other two were, they had a nexus to what was on our agenda. Okay?
Fair enough.
All right, thank you. Again, you can send that to, Director Crowley, or you go through the clerk's office if you plan. You good with that?
I am.
Okay, thank you. Item 3.
Number 3 is a communication from His Honor Mayor Donald R. Grevy to the honorable members of the Pawtucket City Council, submitting the following reappointment as a member of the Public Arts Fund Committee for confirmation: Jane Larson, 255 Rice Street, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Term to expire the first Monday in June of 2029. The motion is to approve on a roll call vote.
Then moved by Councilman Moran, second by Councilman Moran. Communication from His Honor Mayor Donald R. Grevy, honorable member of the Pawtucket City Council, submitting the following reappointment as a member of the Pawtucket Arts Fund Committee. Jane Larson, 255 Rice Street, for a term that expires the first Monday in June of 2029. The motion is for confirmation on a roll call vote. Is there any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
President Mercer,
Yes.
Councilor Arujo,
Yes.
Council Codere,
Yes.
Council Gregor,
Yes.
Council Moran,
Yes.
Council Moreno,
Yes.
Council Rubio.
Yes.
Council Stokoviac, Council Wilderness,
Yes.
9-0.
Finance Committee submits the following resolution with the recommendation for approval. Resolution authorizing the city of Pawtucket to enter into a tax settlement agreement with Hasbro for the properties located at 1027 Newport Avenue and 1011 Newport Avenue. I call for approval on a roll call vote. Second.
By Councilman Scrivener, second by Councilman Rand. That the Finance Committee returns and submits the following resolution with a recommendation for approval. The resolution authorizing the city perspective to enter into a tax settlement agreement with Hasbro for the property located at 1027 Newport Avenue. 1011 Newport Avenue. Motion is for approval on a roll call vote during discussion. Clerk, will call the roll.
President Mercer,
Yes.
Council Ruzo,
Yes.
Council Codere,
Yes.
Council Gregor,
Yes.
Council Moran,
Yes.
Council Moreno,
Yes.
Council Rubio,
Yes.
Council Scoviat, Council Wilderness,
Yes.
9-0.
Number 5, the City Property Committee submits the following resolution with a recommendation for approval. A resolution authorizing the City of Pawtucket to enter into an easement agreement with Coxcom LLC for the installation of underground lines and other facilities at city-owned property known as Main Street Plaza, Assessors Plat 43, Lot 592. I move for approval on a roll call vote.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Scolio, second by both Councilor Ruzo and Councilor Moreno. The City Property Committee returns, submits the following resolution with a recommendation for approval. Resolution authorizing the City of Pawtucket to enter into an easement agreement with Coxcom LLC for the installation of an underground lines and other facilities at city-owned property known as Main Street Plaza, Assessors Plat 43, Lot 592. Recommendation from the Property Committee is approval on a roll call vote. Further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
President Mercer,
Yes.
Council Ruzo,
Yes.
Council Codere,
Yes.
Council Gregor,
Yes.
Council Moran,
Yes.
Council Moreno,
Yes.
Council Rubio,
Yes.
Council Scoviat,
Yes.
Council Wilderness,
Yes.
9-0.
Councilor Ruzo, before you take up items 6 and 7 together, I just want to, as I did with Maggie Whedon's written file testimony, I'd like to acknowledge and file, written comment we received from Caitlin Berard, Cynthia Davis, Jane Arnold, Ruth Gill Johnson, Anne Marie McGee, Cameron Segala, David C. Pargoli, Tina Newman, Annie Grant, Susan Curry, Kevin Curry, Mara Garcia, and Nick Tarantino, Maura Sherry, Nicole Piao, Alan Cohen, Katerina Ezekovich, Elliot Clement, Sandra Gansman. Those have all been filed and sent to the members earlier today.
Okay, item number 6 is a communication from Frank J. Miles, Esquire, City Solicitor, Council President Terry E. Mercer, proposed city charter amendments regarding the school committee. My motion is to file this communication.
Second.
Moved by Council Weaver, second by Council Rand, that a communication from the city solicitor Frank J. Milos to the council president regarding a proposed city charter amendment regarding the school committee. The communication filed. Any discussion on filing the communication? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Item number 7 is a resolution to place on the November 3rd, 2026 ballot, a referendum to amend the Pawtucket Home Rule Charter to allow for a school committee that is composed of appointed and elected members. My motion is to take this up.
Moved by Councilor Russo, second by Councilor Wildenhain, that we take up a resolution placed on the November 3rd, 2026 ballot, a referendum to amend the Pawtucket Home Rule Charter to allow for a school committee that is comprised of appointed and elected officials. Motion is taken up. All in favor of taking up the resolution? Okay, at this point, I intended to kind of set the stage for the discussion and public input, indeed, the dialogue on this matter. How we got here, what this item means, more importantly, what it doesn't mean, and where will the city go from here. But you bear with me for a couple minutes. I have a couple things I'd like to say, and I will tell you now that when I'm finished with my remarks, I intend to make a motion that may allay everyone's concerns, at least for the foreseeable future. Everyone who wishes at that time to offer public comment on this item will be allowed to. But perhaps the proposal and the motion may change your outlook for at least tonight. Well, how we got here? As you can see, I originally had pages and pages and pages that I wanted to address. I intended to say quite a bit about the travel of this proposal and the logic behind giving voters choice. I plan to go over how vastly different things are today than when our home rule charter was first adopted 72 years ago in 1954. Everything in life has become increasingly complex since 1954. Chief among those complexities is municipal governance is public education. The norm in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even the 80s was a two-parent, single earner, family dynamic. Kids walked to and from school, they even walked home for lunch. There was no before-school programs, there was no after-school programs, very little fussing. There was no notion of pre-K. There was no need for bulletproof glass, shelter-in-place strategies. No need for school resources, officers, and emotional staffers throughout all of it. Now, 70 years later, school committees deal with all of those things, urgent and emergent. And this, and that, and that, and they now oversee budgets that exceed $100 million. That's certainly not a 1954 number. They choose and evaluate superintendents who now make more than $200,000 annually. They monitor academic performance, such that it is. They negotiate employment contracts. They rightly provide for the incredibly important inclusion and instruction of non-English speakers, whether it was termed ESL and then ELL or now MLL. They make long-term capital planning decisions, short-term building maintenance decisions. They respond to ever-expanding mandates for the General Assembly, and they wrestle with all sorts of federal title programs, the myriad complexities that come with those. They do all of this, and in most cases, with not 1 minute of pertinent experience. It's not fair to the residents. It's certainly not fair to their children. And to be perfectly frank, it's not fair to the committee members themselves. In this day and age, it is far too much to expect from our everyday neighbors. No wonder they occasionally run off the rails. That's precisely why the General Assembly overhauled Title 16 just a few years ago, to limit school committees' abilities to come up the works and to strengthen the role of superintendents as the experts in the room. Precisely why the council leadership and the administration collectively pursued options over the last 2 years that were ultimately delivered to both of us from the city solicitor's office just last week. So that's how we got here. What does this item 7 do? Simply put, this council, under the authority conferred to it under Article 13 of the state constitution, it does not have to come to us through a charter review commission, as has been suggested. The council would put forth a ballot question to ask the voters if they'd like to approve a change to the charter to allow for a hybrid school. There are other provisions that would button up the idea in totality, like creating by ordinance a vetting committee to seek out the best candidates for a plan. But that's essentially it. You'd be asking the voters their preference. Nothing more. What does the item not do? It does not take away anyone's vote. Quite to the contrary, it would ask the voters of this city what their wishes are. I don't know how anyone can suggest otherwise. Council has the authority to put a question on the ballot, but it is strictly prohibited from making any changes to the charter without affirmative democratic choice of the vote. That is in the charter. That is democracy in action. Just otherwise is alarmist, self-serving, and disingenuous, at least in my mind. Now on to my motion. I've spoken with the mayor a couple times over the last 2 days. We both agreed that despite our collective best efforts to devise a thorough proposal over the last 18 months to 24 months, that perhaps the final project was just a little bit too rushed to make it happen for the November election. So I informed the mayor this morning, after speaking with council leadership, Council Rujo and Council Wildenhain. I notified him I was going to make a motion to indefinitely postpone item 7. He said he was comfortable with my stance. So since I cannot make the motion for president, I'm going to ask one of my colleagues to make a motion to do just that. Postpone this matter indefinitely. That's a term of art relative to Robert's Rule of Order. Well, it says indefinitely. I would suggest with an eye toward resurrecting it sometime in 2027 to determine whether it should go forward in that format or something different. And put it again to the voters in a ballot question. So, that's the motion I would entertain if someone is willing to make it.
President, I will make that motion to indefinitely postpone item number 7.
And I will second it.
Been moved by Councilor Moran. By Councilor Perugia. And we can definitely postpone item 7. Any discussion?
No pictures of making a motion. Motion, however, given the fact that perhaps we stand that cannot do
I've already said I will do that, so, roll call?
Yes.
Anybody else? In that case, clerk will call the roll.
President Mercer,
Yes.
Council Ruzo.
Yes.
Council Codere,
Yes.
Council Gregor,
Yes.
Council Moran,
Yes.
Council Moreno, Council Rubio,
Yes.
Council Scoviat,
Yes.
Council Wildenhain,
No.
8-1.
So, as I said, all you folks that came down here, you're here for a particular reason. There's one person online for a particular reason. I don't know if what I said in the motion I made that was approved 8-1 changes your opinion on whether or not necessary for you to offer public comment. I'm not going to stand your way. I'm certainly going to welcome it if you'd like to do it. But if you believe that it's kind of a moot point at this point, I'm fine with that. Show of hands, would you like me to go through the list?
Yeah. Oh, we're still here.
Okay. All right, so,
Not really gonna be rude about it.
this issue, has everything to do with our home rule charter here in Pawtucket. So I am going to start with Pawtucket residents. So, and if you don't intend to come up again, just let me know you'd like to pass. If you'd like to come on up, we'll try to do it as efficiently as possible. Danny, I get your name wrong in the last name all the time. Barron's? Banning, I'm sorry.
Danny Banning, it kind of rhymes.
Your handwriting is as bad as mine.
Yes, it is true. It's because we're artists, okay, it's because we're creative. So yeah, Danny Banning, tier 10 benefits.
We have it already here, Ms. Gannon. So, again, haven't heard what I said, haven't heard what the motion was, haven't heard that it was approved. Let us know what you think.
Unfortunately, all of my issues were not really addressed in yours, and I kind of just feel like it's kicking the can down the road and not really actually still addressing what the major problem is. So, as I have already shared with many of you, my son disclosed abuse by a teacher at Winters on March 23rd of this year. And the school department and school committee failed him. They did not report to DCYF within the mandated 24-hour period, and they failed to support the 4-year-old and our family as we tried to navigate this alone, both as his advocates and educators. This systematic failure occurred with our family, but we are unfortunately not alone in just one of the many. It is undeniable that our school leadership needs an overhaul of culture and policies, but to deny the parents and constituents the opportunity to be the ones directly choosing and holding their school committee accountable is an unjust and ineffective way to reform a system. Instead, I request a full and complete independent investigation of our school committee and school department to fully understand the failures, their origins, and therefore their solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Manning. Lori Chase, Baxter Street. Baxter is right next to, Irv McCabe.
Correct. Good evening, President Mercer, members of the City Council, and members of the public. My name is Lori Chase. I'm a Pawtucket resident, a taxpayer, and I've spent the last 28 years as a Pawtucket teacher. During that time, I've worked with thousands of students and families, and I've seen firsthand how the school committee decisions affect classrooms, teachers, students, and the opportunities our children receive. That's why I'm here tonight. Replacing a fully elected school committee with one where 3 members are appointed by the mayor, 2 are appointed by the city council, and only 2 are elected by the people raises serious concerns about transparency and public accountability. I keep coming back to one simple question. Why are we taking the voice away from the people? Over the last 28 years, I've seen budgets grow, budgets get cut, and I've even seen programs created and programs eliminated. Through all those changes, one thing has remained true. The people making those decisions were accountable to the voters. As educators, we're held accountable every day. Parents ask questions, administrators ask questions. We explain our decisions because that's part of serving the public. I believe the people responsible for governing our schools should be held to that same standard. Our school department's own guiding principles say that the community must actively participate in the education of our children. If those are truly our values, then why are we reducing the community's direct role in choosing who governs our schools? Chapter 18 of the Pawtucket City Charter already provides an important system of checks and balances. The mayor and the city council oversee the city's finances. The school committee independently governs and operates our public schools. It hires the superintendent, oversees school personnel, develops, submits the school's budget, sets policy, and is responsible for the safe and effective operation of our schools. Those responsibilities are separate for a reason. They're to ensure that our schools are governed independently while remaining directly accountable to the people. Appointing 5 of the 7 school committee members changes that balance and concentrates more influence over our schools in fewer hands. This isn't about politics or who's in office today. It's about preserving transparency, accountability, and the public's voice. Our schools belong to the people of Pawtucket, and the people of Pawtucket should continue to elect every member of the school committee. I respectfully ask you to reject the proposal and preserve a fully elected school committee. Thank you.
Absolutely. I would have missed
There's a microphone there, isn't there?
Actually, I was reading, I wrote them. So, haven't been here in a while, but I'm sure you guys haven't missed sleep. Right, George? So, I would like, I actually find it hard to believe that any one of you want this because of the recent disrespect by the former chair, Reyes. Remember that Reyes was handpicked by the mayor. So there's your problem. They were already handpicked. Every single one was endorsed by the mayor and paid by the Teachers Alliance via donation, except for Grant, because the mayor was mad at her. This is why we have school officials that allow our minority children to be called the N-word inside their classrooms and still have their jobs because of hand-picked members. The last time this issue came up about appointment of school committee members, I had to remind everybody that Grevian needed certain minions elected to set up Patricia and get rid of the best superintendent we've ever had because of her skin tone, of course. The city's being sued for it, so it's not a secret. McPheeters was pushing for it because he was too lazy to earn his seat, and since he's going to lose again, he's trying to secure a seat somewhere. Yeah.
To refrain from personal attacks, no political.
Well, they need to inform the people that don't go to both meetings to see where the dots
This is
connect.
not, this is not the
You
law.
can, I'm gonna read what I wrote, you can keep stopping me. So here we go again, it's a power grab by a dysfunctional government and its crooked administration. For those of us who know Pawtucket politics, we know that the main problem with the school committee is that the elected are handpicked by the mayor already. This will only be making it easier for them to find a way to involve the teachers union who benefits from paying off the future favors. The union president's wife's position in the school department was eliminated by Patricia's administration. And after paying these minions, they helped get rid of Patricia and Ronnie's wife's job was back. Is that not appointed? If that's not appointed, I don't know what is. The disaster we are all seeing now is actually because we have school committee handpicked by this mayor. Bonolo, the now chair, stated that she was not elected as chair at first because the mayor needed it to be Reyes. So when they get rid of Patricia, it wouldn't look like discrimination. Well, now that worked out. Reyes completed his mission and now Bonolo took her position. If you pay attention to Pawtucket politics, you know that Reyes was handpicked, Rosa was handpicked, Bonolo handpicked, Chanel handpicked, Wilderhain handpicked, Barrera handpicked, Grant handpicked as vice chair. Now that after they made up, we'll select our one. If we actually got to elect real candidates who actually care and want these seats, we might get better results. I'll actually add in there that I paid a very close attention because I was going to all of these school committee meetings before these members took their place. Not one attended any meeting before becoming a member. That's weird. We probably should have people that care to even come down and see how the meetings run before they take over and get more familiar with some of the people who do care to come down and be public input. So handpicking doesn't work. We already have that system in place. So let's probably try to leave it up to the voters to just actually find out more about these candidates before actually voting for them. Thank you.
Cameron Segala. Yeah, Mr. Segala, if anything has changed from when you walked through the doors till now, even as brief as possible, we would all appreciate it.
Well, I had something relatively nice, comparatively. So I'll just address what I've heard tonight. So, one, I would like to reject your characterization of anybody who's saying this is an attempt to take the rights away from voters as self-serving. What was the word you used? Self-serving.
Self-serving, disingenuous.
Disingenuous. Alarmist. Thank you.
Alarmist.
Yes. So I'm wholeheartedly rejecting that. What this would have done, if you guys went along with the plans, would have made it a majority appointed committee, therefore taking away right from the vote. Yes, it goes to the ballot, but you're asking us to vote to take away our right as voters to elect a committee. Now, we can talk about reforms, maybe making school committee nonpartisan, taking away the party bias, maybe talk about endorsements like what we talked about, but to assume that the council, in whatever form it may be in the future, and the mayor's office, in whatever form it may be, has a better grip on who should be and is more educated than the voters on who should be on this committee for whatever reason, whatever qualifications you put ahead of it. It's comes up, that comes up. Also, in my opinion, because it gives you guys more power, both the committee rather than the voters. And as much disagreement I have with a lot of the members of the school, and I've made that public many times. Omar Reyes works with the state. He has a background in education. Juan Pablo, he was a mayor of the city in Colombia. Angelis Rosa, I believe she works with children. Matt Wildenhain, he worked in the Pawtucket School Department in Maine. So I mean, those four technically are the most qualified ones on the board. Really, the ones that don't have any qualification whatsoever and defended it's Joey, Kim Grant, and Jim Shalell. I mean, even Jim Shalell says all the time he's just a dumb state employee. I mean, that's his words. I would never say it. So I just, I don't know what to say anymore. You know, I didn't know this was even on the this agenda until somebody emailed me 2 days ago and informed me. And then I looked into it and I posted about it. And you know, it's funny. You've been talking to the mayor for 2 days, so clearly it ruffled a little couple of feathers, got a lot of attention, and the mayor decided that this was no longer in his best political interest once everybody started talking about it. So he introduced this. You guys talked about it for months. Didn't convene the Charter Review Commission so that the public could have a say in this. You guys made this decision. We're ready to go. Passed it today. You didn't think that everybody was going to show up, write letters, etc., etc. I guess plans change. So, anyways, hope you guys have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Adam Gaines.
Good evening, Council President Mercer, members of the council. My name is Adam Greenman, candidate for mayor here in Pawtucket. And I want to say, I'm glad that you made the decision tonight to postpone this. But I do worry about the fact that this is a postponement and not just getting rid of this idea altogether. Council President Mercer, I listened to your words and I have to say, unfortunately, I disagree with them. And you're right, a lot has changed since 1954, but there's a couple things that have not changed. The people's right in this country to elect their representation hasn't changed. The passion and the experience that regular everyday people who serve on school committees have, that hasn't changed. They're parents, they're citizens, they're taxpayers, they're people that care about this city, and that hasn't changed since 1954. I've had disagreements probably with every member of the school committee over the last 10, 15 years, except for maybe one. I think we should make that very clear. But that doesn't mean that I would ever want to take away their ability to be elected by the people. You know, I want to enter in my full written comments into the public record because I think it's important that you hear the arguments that I came here prepared to share tonight. Arguments about democracy, arguments about how these are the kinds of things that take away the respect that voters have for our elected officials, for our city government. The fact that as a former teacher, as somebody with my doctorate in education, as somebody who understands education policy and that many would consider an education expert, the trend has been to move away from appointed school committees, not just here in Rhode Island, but across the country. And I'd be really curious to know who are the education experts and the people that you have been talking to and the mayor's been talking to get their research, because all of the research says that democracy is the way to go in these kinds of situations. And I'll say this, I'm glad that the mayor decided to join me and the people behind me today in opposing this measure. I wish he had done it sooner. I wish he hadn't 18 months ago tried to take away the power of the people. But I'm glad that you and I'm glad that he have decided that this is not the right thing to do at this time. And I want to thank everyone here. because their voice mattered. The people that reached out to you, their voice mattered. Actually, democracy worked exactly as it's supposed to. Democracy worked exactly as how it did 3 years ago when this came before the Charter Review Commission. When the people spoke and the Charter Review Commission roundly rejected the idea of an appointed school committee. And so I hope that this is postponed indefinitely, and that indefinitely means never again. And quite frankly, I'm disappointed that the mayor isn't here tonight to oppose this as well. It shows a lack of leadership, and as residents, we deserve better. And that's why we have a choice on September 9th. So thank you for your time. I want to thank you.
Thank you. You can give your written testimony. Actually, I think I skipped over Glenn Dufall. Are you here? Yeah.
We get set up here real quick. Trying to do me for a loop. So. I had spoke with you earlier. I need these passed out. Appreciate it. 1, 2 each. Correct. Okay, so like I said, you did throw me for a loop. I do applaud with you postponing this. I do disagree with you in regards to the legalities of this, so I'm gonna read what I have prepared. So. Good evening.
You're handing out.
Yes, I will get to that, further into,
I'm just asking if you were reading what you're handing out.
at one point, you will. You want me to wait till?
No, I don't, you can, well, I just was wondering if what we're getting is what you're about to read.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Glenn Dufall, and I am here tonight in opposition of changing the current school committee structure. Personally, I believe we are in violation of the state constitution in regards to public school matters. While Section 8 of the Rhode Island Constitution gives broad powers to cities and towns to make amendments to their home rule charters, the one thing that it is excluded is public schools. Because under the Rhode Island Constitution, Article 8, municipalities have home rule authority over local affairs, but education is considered an issue of statewide concern. Because school committees act as agents of the state, local charter changes that alter the number of committee members, how they are elected, or their powers cannot take effect unless expressly validated by an act of the General Assembly. Cities and towns cannot bypass the Rhode Island General Assembly to strip away the elected status of school committees. The Rhode Island State Supreme Court has historically noted that the General Assembly itself possesses the ultimate power over public schools and determines how that authority is delegated to local school committees. The Rhode Island Supreme Court has established the following legal boundaries on this issue. State supremacy. The court has held that school committees act as agents of the state, like I said, not the municipality. The Rhode Island General Assembly possesses ultimate jurisdiction over public education and elections. Prior landmark rulings. In historic cases such as Royal versus Barry, the court ruled that no provision in a local home rule charter can regulate or eliminate a school committee unless it is explicitly validated and authorized by an act of the General Assembly. Recent precedent. The court reemphasized this doctrine in its July 2023 ruling involving the Charter Hall School Committee. The justices affirmed that state law and specific enabling legislation take precedence over local charter provisions when it comes to the governance and structure of school bodies. Legally, how the approval process works is 1. Local action. The city or town council must draft legislation or a charter amendment regarding the structural changes to the school committee. 2. Legislative approval. This proposed legislation must be sent to and passed by the Rhode Island General Assembly as a specific act or public law. 3. Voter referendum. Once approved by the state legislator, The change must typically be approved by a majority of the city or town's registered voters at a general or special election. Now we can go to the paper. Ironically, the city of Warwick City Council had very similar legislation this year to this resolution, except they're not looking to eliminate elected school committee members, they're looking to add. Before you, you have a copy of what their city solicitor drafted for a resolution and followed every step required and submitted to the Rhode Island General Assembly while they were in session. I'm asking that this council hold this for further study which you already have, so. To confirm what I have presented to be true or not. For if you vote to approve this, most definitely there will be a violation filed to the Rhode Island Board of Ethics Commission and the Rhode Island State Supreme Court. And I can tell you as a taxpayer that the last thing we need is thousands of dollars in legal fees just to lose again like the city seems to do a lot. Wasted taxpayer money. You have nothing to lose by holding for further study to confirm if we are violating a state law.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well.
Mr. West.
Well.
Mr. West. How are you, sir?
Thank you very much. Good evening, members of the council. My name is H. Philip West Jr. I have been a resident of Pawtucket, Unity Street for 9 years.
The
light is on.
Oh.
It's on. Maybe I just need to speak a little louder and not worry about it. I want to say a few things tonight that I think are really important in terms of the process. I came tonight planning to argue against your proposal to put this measure on the ballot. I felt that the process was rushed. It lacked public input. I heard nothing about it, not that I hear everything, but it astonished me that you would be seriously considering a detailed proposal that had been with a letter from the solicitor dated July 1 and aiming to put it to the Secretary of State by August 5th. It made no sense. It seemed hectic and hurried. I'd heard nothing about the arguments about why this proposal was needed or how it would make things better. I saw no indication of research based on practices in other cities across the country as to how it would make the school education process better. And I was deeply troubled by that and simply could not understand. So I have strongly affirmed your decision now to postpone it indefinitely, at least until 2027, and then come back. During the last 4 decades, I've been in Rhode Island. I've worked on 7 constitutional amendments that have all been approved by the General Assembly and ultimately approved by the voters of Rhode Island. In all of those procedures, there had been careful study of the kind I've just discussed in terms of evidence from other municipalities and states. There had been public process with notice for people to hear and to come and to speak. And what has really worried me was the sense that this was going on in Pawtucket without any reference from the public. I didn't know where this measure had come from, who had drafted it. Certainly it had not been advertised that I saw in a newspaper or discussed in any of the mayor's announcements, news of the city of Pawtucket. Maybe I didn't miss it somewhere, but I don't think I did. So I affirm your decision to put it off. And I hope that you will learn from this painful exercise, this embarrassing exercise, and that you will insist in the future that the process be done with more care. And the way it can be done with more care is to set up a panel of some kind or a committee of the city council and hold some hearings, perhaps in the many wards, and ask people what they think about what's really happened in the city and it's particularly in the schools. It would be much better than some of the other meetings that I've attended in the city. And you would get good information from parents. I urge you to study what goes on in other cities across the country and what kind of school board would work before you rush into any particular proposal. I agree with what Adam Greenman said a minute ago, that I think that elections of some kind are the responsible way to deal with schools. I've lived through education crises in the city of New York, where we had large numbers of parents literally taking over the schools. We don't need that in Pawtucket. We can do better. So I thank you for postponing this. And I hope that you will remember this experience and we'll do better the next time in terms of whatever kind of process we do to review and to recommend in a better way how to improve the schools of Pawtucket. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. West.
Thank you, Mr. West.
Lisa B? Is she here?
I yield.
Okay, thank you. Ms. B, it says formally of Marbury, have you moved?
Yes, I have.
Still with us in Pawtucket?
Pardon me?
Are you still with us in Pawtucket?
No, but I had to leave because health reasons.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to pry, I'm just wondering if you're still with us.
I will, you know what, I'll say what I want to say.
Sure.
Okay, as you know, I have not exactly been a silent, a silent member of the Pawtucket, Pawtucket residents, and people know that. I just have to say that, first of all, I'm glad you made that decision. I find it difficult to believe that, you know, you need me, okay, I guess, is this on?
It is on.
Light is on, yeah.
Get the lights on. So, I'm 82 years old. I lived in Pawtucket for 46 years. In the last 15 years under, Mayor Grebian and this, city council, I have seen, the most gross, I didn't write this, but I'll say it this way. Why are we in this building tonight? Let me ask you that question. Why are we in this building tonight instead of in the city building?
It's a great question.
Could you answer me? We're here because City Hall is falling down. We're here because this administration in the last 15 years has been the most grossly incompetent in running the city that I have ever seen. City Hall is falling down. All of we have many buildings, public buildings on the National Historic Register. Okay, City Hall, Tolman High School, Shea High School, and they're all in great disrespect. When people buy a house, they always take care of the property. When Mayor Grebian came in, and many of you on the city council came into power, that was the infrastructure of the city was absolutely and utterly, any kind of repairs were absolutely abrogated, as well as blacktopping over the public parks and assorted other things. I've told you this over and over again. And I came out of an assisted living place to tell you once more that you are not competent to take over the city, the education of citizens of this city any more than you are competent to take over the administration, the infrastructure and the running of Pawtucket. And I will say, I'm glad that you decided to table it, but I hope it's held. And besides that, you're trying to destroy the city charter. And that's something that for incompetent people is absolutely unspeakable. So that's all I have to say. And Ethan Bailey.
Good evening. I commend you for your decision to not take up this issue at this moment. And I think you are brilliant to have and courageous to have taken that step tonight in front of all these people. And I'm going to turn my remarks to a completely different thought, which is that this has been a really long, uncomfortable, and irrelevant experience for me to sit through your business. And most of it I couldn't even hear because you were working with each other and getting your business accomplished. And we didn't have any reason to be here for that. We could have come in and given you could have presented what you have presented. We could have thanked you for allowing us to make our statements because we all put a lot of effort into it. But we could have done that, and then you could have done your business in a more relaxed and maybe efficient way. And we would not have had to sit like a punishment through all these issues that have no real relevance to us, maybe to some of us. But certainly, I think that it was not a nice experience for me. And I thank you for getting to the place where you got to finally. And you could have just dismissed all of us without giving us the opportunity to speak. So I really commend you for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Alexis Tom Billy.
What was that?
Nope, just call the next person. Tom Billy, how are you?
A little tired, but thank you. I'm sure you are too. Council President Mercer, I appreciate that you spoke with the mayor earlier today and convinced him that this issue was best postponed for consideration at another time, and it's not in the best interest of the city. Just wanted to note that around noon, the mayor on his campaign social media, not the city, not the mayor's office official social media, posted that he spoke to you and convinced you to take it from consideration. So maybe someone should get their story straight. I don't want to see someone else.
I can tell you whose story it is.
I don't want to see someone else taking credit for your level-headedness in postponing this. Just in case I don't make it here for when it comes up in 2027, I do still want to, say what I'm prepared to say. Like many of us here tonight, I oppose the proposed charter revision to change our elected school committee to one with a supermajority of members that are appointed by City Hall. This was a shameless power grab by the mayor when he tried it 2 years ago. It's still a shameless power grab. Now he's trying to throw it against the wall to see if it sticks this time. First of all, if there are 5 individuals out there in the city of Pawtucket who are more qualified and interested in serving on the school committee, they should be running for school committee. Last time I checked, there were only 2 non-incumbent candidates running. So who are these 5 people that the mayor and the city council intend to appoint? Second, our school committee may not be perfect. I've been just as much a pain in the ass at their podium as I have been at this one. But they're put in their roles by us, by the voters, the parents, the students who are old enough to vote, and the taxpayers of the city of Pawtucket. I realize the school committee has had disagreements with the mayor and disagreements with the city council. That's exactly why we need an elected school committee independent from City Hall. The complexities of the modern education system that you gave as an introduction to this agenda item are more reasons we need an independent elected school committee. If our requirements for a school committee are that they're always in full agreement with the mayor and the city council, there's no purpose in having a school committee at all. It would be the same as if the mayor replaced this council with an appointed body, if they ever went up against his agenda. We need an independent elected body to stand up for our students and teachers. As far as the rescheduling of the public comment period for this agenda item, I guess I haven't been to too many of these meetings, but typically when there's a public comment period tied to an agenda item, it's a public hearing for that item, and people aren't required to sign up by 6:30, which interestingly enough has been gradually pushed back. It was 6:35 last year. It was 6:40 a few years ago. So you are gradually taking away people's ability to input public comment. We have been here we waited from signing up before 6:30 until 8 p.m. to begin speaking. I think the minimum courtesy would be that people who got here at 6:31 or 6:34 intending to sign up be allowed to, since I believe the requirement is 10 minutes before the seated public comment period, not 6:30 flat. And really anyone who signed up by 7:50 should be allowed to speak if our public comment period doesn't start until 8. Thank you.
That's well said, thank you.
Amanda Pompey.
Have the golden opportunity tonight to be able to speak after I have heard you guys address the issue. So that's a very different situation to usual. I first want to address the fact that the comment that Mr. Mercer, you made that it is, what did you say? It is disingenuous, alarmist, and selfish of the voters to expect to elect their own school committee. I find that to be a
Not actually what I said.
What did you say?
I said it, alarmist, self-serving, and to suggest that this was anti-democratic. I didn't say that.
Democratic, because you are taking away our vote. That is taking away our vote. And to say otherwise is frankly condescending and insulting. And I have never been so condescended to by an elected official in my city before. That is truly offensive. I've spoken to many of you many times who know my face and you know my voice. And I know that you're smart people. And I know that this is not something that all of you decided to do today. I know that this was something that you got pressure from the mayor to do. And I know that this is something that he withdrew this pressure at the last minute and threw all of you under the bus to make you look like a bunch of losers who were going to push this through without his approval. And then put it on Mercer, on Mr. Mercer, to actually withdraw and table it indefinitely. And I just wanted to say that, first of all, your comment about how the school committee is not made up of qualified individuals. I would like to remind everybody that there are no special qualifications that are required to run for city council. That all of the people who run for school committee are either teachers, former teachers, parents, or former parents of students in Pawtucket. Most of them, many of them, many of the mayor's favorites are people who never had kids in public school at all. The mayor himself never sent his children to public school. And I want you to know, not true? Oh, maybe later on. They started out in private school. I want you to know that you don't need to continue carrying water for him anymore. You don't need to be his whipping voice. It's not fair that he does this to you, and you shouldn't have to put up with it. And I think that maybe in the future, you're not going to have to put up with it because he's not going to be the mayor. And I want you to think about yourselves a little bit more and not have to put up with this sort of indignity to yourselves that you have to pose as the people who want to put forward his agenda. Moreover, I want to reiterate Christine's comment about how the mayor puts forward candidates for school committee every time, that he endorses certain people. And every election cycle, it seems like these people change, that the people that he puts front and center are the people. I am currently circulating petitions for people to sign, for people to get on the ballot. And the people that I am signing for, that I'm getting signatures for this time, because they need the whole 200 themselves, are the people who were endorsed last time. And the people who were endorsed last time, some of them were, or some of the people who were not endorsed last time were the people who were endorsed the prior time. And this is a cycle that he runs through, that he gets people into office, he thinks they're going to carry out his agenda, and when they have a mind of their own, which is an extremely inconvenient thing for him to have in a person who works under him, then he throws them under the bus and he tries to push someone else out. And I am nervous about the idea that we're going to potentially have a school committee that the mayor can basically yank people at will and put someone else in as his whims go. And this is, I think, a power grab. I think that it is undemocratic. I think it is unfair to us, the voters, and there is no reason for it. We can elect the people who represent us. And I think that there's no credible argument against letting the people of Pawtucket, many of whom are teachers, many of whom have advanced degrees, who are intelligent people who have gone to college and who are qualified to make our own decisions at the voting booth. So thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
One more right. Thank you for having me. Can everybody hear me in the back?
No.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Speak louder.
All right, I'm speaking. I'm glad that the video is working this time. Okay. So, city council members, especially, city council president Mercer, I stand here today in opposition to that proposal to move forward. I don't, celebrate this decision because you're just going to revisit it after an election date. And you're only doing that because you got caught doing it after 4th of July. For years, we have seen a calculated starve and blame strategy of the time. We've seen flat funding for our schools, bigger classroom sizes, and while the administration and city council complain about academic outcomes, we always get blamed for it. Now, when parents, educators, and the community raise their voices for better resources, the solution from City Hall, the City Council, is not to invest in our children, it is to silence the voters. By trying to replace an elected body with political appointees, you are trying to strip 80,000 residents of their fundamental right to choose who oversees our $111 million school budget. Just 4 days after the 250th anniversary of our nation's independence, an appointed board will not answer to the parents in Pawtucket, not answer to taxpayers. They will answer only to the person that gave them their seat. It will become an echo chamber for you and not a line of defense for our students and teachers. This is the shell game. You want to control school department's budget without oversight of an independent elected committee that challenges your priorities. You want to avoid accountability that comes with a democratic process, just like you tried last year to take $6 million away from our schools. Just like you didn't want to build Slater Middle School, Slater Middle School still in disrepair. Just like there seems to not be a care by the city council president of kids in the city of Pawtucket. You are failing and you are sounding incoherent and you're contradicting yourself with this motion going back and forth. Excuse me. And I have one question for you. So you mentioned that you want to pick elected members. You think that we don't have the experience. You've had a problem with the last 5 or 6 chairs on our school committee. And just like we're not qualified, what makes you qualified to be city council president? If the argument is that voters cannot be trusted to elect qualified members of the school committee, then why should voters be trusted to elect members of the city council at all? What special qualifications do you possess that give you the right to lead this council, oversee hundreds of millions of dollars in public resources, make decisions about taxation, development, public safety, and the future of the city? Were you appointed because of some special expertise?
He applied himself.
Was there a judge? Oh, thank you for interrupting me. Were you selected by a panel of experts? I don't think you were. You were elected. You asked the people of Pawtucket to trust democracy when it gets you elected, but you suddenly question democracy when it gives power to people who disagree with you. You cannot have it both ways. If elections are good enough to make you city council president, then elections are good enough to determine who represents the parents, taxpayers, teachers, and students of Pawtucket on the school committee. I urge you to never attempt to dismantle our local democracy. We need more voices at the table, not fewer. We need parents and taxpayers to have direct power, not just a curated list of appointees. Just like you said, that we're not supposed to serve the kids, we serve the taxpayers. You are trying to do a disservice to our taxpayers. Do not trade our students' future for a consolidation of political control. Defend the voters' vote. Anyone that votes for this is complicit in voting for the talking down of the Pawtucket voter that doesn't agree. Thank you for your time.
Earl Babiak, are you coming back up a second time, or you still here? Okay. Jennifer Bustamante. She here? Yes. Hi, Ms. Bustamante. Can you just pull that down a little bit to Mike? There you go.
Good evening, Council President and members of the council. My name is Jennifer Bustamante, and I am candidate for school committee. And I am not being handpicked by the mayor or anyone else. I'm here because I chose to run for the school committee because I truly care about my city, the students, educators, and the people. I am also a well-qualified individual. I have been working over 20 years in higher education. I am earning my master's in public administration this year, and I truly have a passion for education. So let the voters and the taxpayers decide who they want to govern our schools. So I'm here tonight to respectfully ask you to reject the proposed charter amendment that would replace our elected school committee with an appointed one. I believe the people should have the right to choose the individuals who make decisions about our public schools. School committee members are accountable to the voters, and if the public is dissatisfied with the performance, elections provide a direct way to make a change. An appointed committee would reduce that direct accountability. Regardless of where people stand on individual education issues, I believe decisions about who governs our schools should remain in the hands of the voter. For those reasons, I respectfully ask you to vote against this resolution. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, Representative Stewart. Can you move forward? Sorry.
Good evening. Thank you for taking my comments this evening. I'll try to keep it brief and basically underscore all of the comments that have been shared with the council tonight. I hope you really take them to heart. And I was really struck, Council President Mercer, by your list of the kinds of issues that members of the school committee must address and grapple with in the 21st century. And to my mind, the complexity of those challenges and the importance of those challenges are reasons why members of the school committee should remain elected and not appointed. And I remember a couple of years ago attending meetings of the city charter commission on this very question, and it was very satisfying to see that issue shelved back then, and it was quite alarming to see it resurrected in such a short order. So I hope that, as was said earlier, the postponement of this issue will mean that it will just be laid to rest permanently and not revisited. But if it is revisited in the future, I hope that the city of Pawtucket will remain committed to having the people involved in the important decisions that affect them, and will reject further concentration of power in the executive office of the city. There are already, I think, 19 boards or commissions that the office of the mayor is holds the responsibility of appointment for. And I hope you seriously reconsider expanding that any further. Thank you very much.
Mr. Vogt, please.
Before I begin my comments, I'd like to thank the gentlewoman for pointing out the fact that we sat here for hours waiting to be able to make our voices heard. A process I've never seen at any public meeting. Good evening, President Mercer, members of the City Council, and members of the public. Former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan once said, quote, "Free, fair, and credible elections are the foundation of democratic societies." That principle is just as important at the local level as it is nationally. Every resident of Pawtucket deserves an equal voice in choosing those entrusted with governing our schools. My name is Ronald Beaupre. I am honored to serve as the president of the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance, representing the educators and related service providers who proudly serve the students and families of Pawtucket. I rise this evening to speak on the proposal to create a hybrid school committee. I'm concerned that this proposal appears before you without the benefit of a charter review commission or even meaningful public engagement. A change of this magnitude deserves a full public conversation because it concerns one of the most fundamental rights of our citizens, the right to elect those who govern our public schools. As educators, we believe in continuous improvement. We support efforts to strengthen governance, increase transparency, and improve accountability. Those are goals we all share. However, the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance believes creating a hybrid school committee is the wrong solution. Today, every school committee member is elected by and directly accountable to the people of Pawtucket. A hybrid model creates two different paths to public office and two different standards of accountability. When difficult decisions are made about budgets, staffing, school closures, or student services, the public should never have to wonder who is ultimately responsible. Clear accountability builds public trust. More important, there is little evidence that changing the structure of a school board by itself improves student achievement. Rhode Island has already experienced significant governance reforms in Providence and Central Falls. While dedicated educators and public officials have worked hard to improve those districts, changing governance alone did not solve the challenges of student achievement, chronic absenteeism, staffing shortages, aging facilities, or inadequate funding. Real progress comes from investing in students, educators, and schools. not from changing who occupies the seats at the committee's table. Our educators know what helps children succeed. Strong schools require qualified teachers, manageable class sizes, safe and modern facilities, and access to counselors, psychologists, social workers, nurses, librarians, and intervention specialists. They require meaningful partnerships with families and leadership that is transparent and accountable to the community. If improvements to governance are needed, there are better options that preserve the voice of the voters. We can strengthen ethics policies, improve school committee training, increase financial transparency, establish citizen advisory committees, and foster stronger collaboration between the city council and the school committee. Those reforms strengthen governance without diminishing democratic representation. On behalf of the educators of the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance, I respectfully urge the City Council to reject this proposal now and forever. Let us strengthen our schools without weakening the voice of the people. Our students deserve excellent schools. Our educators deserve stable leadership, and our families deserve confidence that those making decisions about public education answer directly to them. Thank you for your time, your service to our city, and your thoughtful consideration.
Thank you. How about you?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good evening. My name is Heather Rodriguez, and I'm a government and psychology teacher at Shea High School. I am here today to urge you not to change the city charter, and I do acknowledge that you've held it into next year where there's no elections and no one has to face the voters. But I would urge you to not ever bring this up again. As a government teacher, I want to acknowledge that democracy is chaotic and messy. Governments are definitely more efficient when you strip citizens of a voice. Frustration can grow to a point where we think to ourselves, this would be so much easier if those in power can just decide what's best for the people. This rationale becomes a slippery slope as governments start to believe that the citizens aren't smart enough to have a say in their own government, that they know better, that they are smarter, and this belief snowballs as governments justify any decision they want and allow themselves to be insulated from the will of the voters. And that is the danger. Even if you believe with the best of intentions that you are taking power from the people in order to save them from their own poor decisions, you will not always be the people in power. And the next people will take that power too. If you decide to take away the voters' rights to elect a school committee, what is to stop us from insinuating a hybrid or instituting a hybrid city council next year? If the voters are not capable of electing a school committee, then logic would suggest that they aren't capable of electing a city council either. History books, and specifically the 20th century, are littered with stories about societies that gave away their democracy a little bit at a time. We are celebrating the 250th anniversary of a group of scrappy colonists who believed the average person should have a say in their government, and without representation, there is no government. And nowhere is that more apparent in the decisions we make that affect our children. They knew that the answer to dysfunction was not less democracy, the answer is more democracy. More than any other state in the country, Rhode Islanders have specifically and historically fought fiercely to protect their rights and to control their own lives. In July of 1663, King Charles II granted the Royal Rhode Island Charter, and its two most foundational points were the freedom of religion, the first in the country or in the world to institute that, and the right of self-governance. Specifically the right of Rhode Islanders to choose their leaders without interference from a British monarchy. We need to remember who we are and where we come from. Please vote to protect democracy. Please don't vote to take it away. And thank you for all you do.
Thanks. That's.
We have one last person after that, is here, McKenna.
Pat Ford, Coalition Radio Network, 42 Oriental Street. Just as an aside, one of the more fascinating aspects of tonight, I've been listening to some of the lofty rhetoric from our speakers and our officials, while simultaneously understanding how they behave behind closed doors, even politically closed doors. It's a fascinating juxtaposition. For the third time in 4 years, I'll be brief, there was a rush to judgment in order to force feed an appointed board to Pawtucket voters. The first one ended up in a formal rebuke from the Attorney General's office because of the improper notification and a couple of open meeting violations. Here we go again, right before the election deadlines, right after, by the way, the announcement and signing up to be certified as a candidate. So potentially neutering this at least slightly from the political ramifications of yet another rush to judgment. I would urge all of you, if you're ever looking at charter revisions again, to look at exactly how the city of Providence, after 60 years of an appointed board, moved to a hybrid model. Ironically, away from an appointed board and into a situation where half of the board is voted for by people. Now, of course, I'm a libertarian, so I support 100% voter rights in this, but as is often the case in Providence, there was a robust process. There was analysis, testimony, research, folks who were experts in the area were brought in to bear, and a lot of conversation was had, all of it open to the public and invited public participation. 3 out of 4 years that this has been attempted, there's been none of that. None of it. And I just don't know how folks can tolerate this. Because the bald-faced nature of these craven political moves, where there's not even an attempt to respect the voter rights, while simultaneously just being confrontationally in your face, saying, daring, if you will, the public to object, daring. And yet here they are tonight again. Changes are coming. And I would recommend a real gut check. What do they call it? Check up from the neck up on how you move these things forward or don't. Now, congratulations to all of you tonight for doing the right thing. Doing the right thing. I only ask that you and the voters perhaps bring to an end the sort of reign of political terror that's taken place here for 8 years, where this type of behavior by a mayor is considered acceptable. But you know what? It's not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Sorry you were left for last. Somebody goes last.
Oh, it's fine. I'll make this very quick because I agree with most of what everyone else said and against the proposal. My name is Emily McKenna. I am a 5th grade teacher at Cunningham Elementary School. I teach 5th grade MLL there. This is my 10th year. And obviously I opposed the proposed amendment to go on the ballot, which was already decided. But it is voter disenfranchisement, and it is also an attempt to consolidate decision-making for what should be an independent governmental body, which the sole purpose is to advance a strong and equitable education system. We need a separate system, whose sole focus is schools and students. When making decisions about the students and the educational system, that should be their top priority, their only priority. If this were to move forward, there would be other interests and influences at play if you had allowed this amendment to go on the ballot and it was voted yes to be changed. You may think that people in power now would make great decisions about who should make the decisions about our schools, but that is short-sighted. The decisions that would be made would be appointed, the people that would be appointed would always be biased decisions. One issue that I want to point out is that the people that would be picked would ultimately align with the mayor or the city council and would have to be in their sphere of influence to even be considered, which would automatically disqualify appropriate candidates for the positions. Also, if someone is disliked by one or two people in this arena, then it could mean that they are not even in the running for the position of school committee member. And it sends a message to voters that you do not have confidence in their ability to make an informed decision about who they elect. Nothing should frighten and enrage a voter more than having their vote taken away and power being concentrated in the hands of a few. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's one person online.
The person who originally said that, doesn't appear to be on anymore.
So no further business coming before the Pawtucket, City Council. I make a motion that we adjourn.
By Councilor Ruda, second by Councilor Cody, that we adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?